we wake, hear the birds and see the sun.
Hello beautiful people, it's Darren here from Art by Darren with another Art Start DIY. Today I'm finishing off the patio. Here's just a little look at what I did last week. I'll link that video up above if you haven't already seen it. We made these covers for the zero gravity chairs, repainted the fence, made a little side table, a cushion, and refurbished a cantilever umbrella as well. So today I'm going to do an aluminium table refresh because this table is so ugly. And I've got this vinyl planking. I was going to use stuff that we'd put in the house, but it vanished, so I had to go and buy a box, which wasn't too bad considering what a new table would cost. So I'm making a pattern here, and it's really easy to use this stuff. You can use scissors to cut it, and mostly I cut it with the Stanley knife, box cutter, whatever you want to call it. But doing any of the edges like this, I used the scissors. There's my baby scissors there. I did eventually find my large scissors, which work much better. Use a big pair of scissors when you're doing this, not little ones. And then it's just a case of stripping off the back and sticking it down. I did want to paint it first. I don't know why I taped it. I mean, it's going to be covered up anyway. But I put the matte black from Rust-Oleum on. Give it a really good clean. Make sure that there's no bits on it because you want the vinyl plank to stick really well. And just pull the back off. There's an arrow with a direction which you need to do to pull it off properly, to follow the arrow. And then I left cutting the last piece with the corner just to make sure it all fit properly. I didn't want to do both corners. I just did one corner to start with and then laid it all down and then did that final one. So here it is. I'm going to put some silicone sealant around. There's little tiny gaps. You would think, I measured it. It should have been the same all the way around. It wasn't. Excuse me. So here I'm taping it because if you're anything like me, silicone sealant goes everywhere. I make such a mess of it. But if it's taped, you pull it off and ta-da, it's so beautiful. So if you haven't used one of these before, you pull back on the long stick sort of put it in and put the stick up at the bottom, so to speak, and then I'm just putting it down and using my finger. I found the best with some detergent and water in that little bowl, and that just stops your finger sticking to it. But you can see the bloody mess I make of it. I mean, look at it. Make sure you have plenty of paper towel. Take a little rest. And there was this little gap in these two boards here, so I taped that and filled that as well. And you can see, look, big mess too. Oh, it's quite pretty now. So I did have to touch up the paint because I'd done it sort of one on top of the other. The paint hadn't had time to cure, so I touched that up as well. Here's this Buddha plaque that I bought in Bali a long time ago, and it needs a bit of a refresh. So I've just made some diluted black paint with water, and I'm wanting that to go into all the crevices of the carving so that when I put paint over the top, you'll still see all these features underneath. Now I'm just applying some cobalt blue just in a single layer because I want those darker layers to show in from underneath, all that texture. And I'm painting my Buddhas blue to remind me of Medicine Buddha. It's a practice that I do for mindfulness. So I'm using this cadmium orange and titanium buff in the background. And I like it until I add the gold onto the headdresses and dress there or robe I should say, and I decided I don't really like it, so then I put black in the background, and I think it kind of sits better for a piece like this. So just touching up all the mistakes I've made everywhere and popping that outside. Now, while I had the silicone out, I grabbed these great recycled pots. They're just a new thing in at Bunnings. They're really fantastic. I love them. And use the silicone to stick them together and to fill the hole in the bottom of the top pot. And I'm just going to make it a really simple little fountain, adding some jute twine here with some hot glue, and then just burning the fuzzy bits off. And this is the only bit of sunshine I had in my yard, so excuse the setting. It wasn't quite what I wanted, but it was the only way I could get the solar fountain to work there. So now I'm going to make some pool noodle storage. So I've got this washing basket, again from Bunnings, and I've got this teal coloured macrame cord, and I'm just lacing it up the side. So it's a little fiddly trying to get into this because it is quite deep. But if you just thread your cords, see how I'm doing it at the edge there? Just through one loop like that, and then pull them to the front, then it's really quite easy to thread it up. So I threaded this up, and then I also covered the handle area of the basket, and then I found this hessian. Now, if I'd had enough of the hessian, I would have done the whole thing all the way around, and I probably would have pulled out the teal coloured cord. I don't know, what do you think? Let me know in the comments. But see, putting this, attaching this hessian cord, hessian ribbon down the bottom there, you sort of have to feed it in from one side with your finger, because you can't reach down into the middle of this with a hot glue gun. It's pretty difficult. So you sort of do it from the side. So here it is. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. I'm not quite sure about this one, but look, it stores the pool noodles, and at the moment it's storing all my wood for my next project, so it's fine. Now I've got these glass lanterns from IKEA, just adding a little bit of that teal cord to the bottom, because when I put them on the jute runner that I've got, they kind of got lost because they look too similar. The rocks that I'm going to put inside them look too similar to the hessian, so I just wanted something to just give it a little bit of colour. You'll see what I'm talking about here. Just to give it that separation, see, between the two. Popped these little cacti in from IKEA. They were $5 for the 3 of them. And here we have our table and our finished area. Well, finished so much as I haven't been able to do the power washing yet. Just trying to save up some water. We ran out of water a few weeks ago. So I've got these beautiful, they're called Dragon's Breath. There's red flowers at the back there. I just love them. I'm going to buy some more and redo this whole section. I just popped them there so you could have a look. I've got to attach the fountain yet. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to leave it in that position or if I'm going to move it over to the side. But here's our refurbished table. So that finishes off the outdoor patio section for the moment. If you enjoyed that video, please give me a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time. Have a wonderful day. Bye for now.